Welcome back. In a move to combat corruption and financial mismanagement, the SCOPA and the SIU have renewed their partnership. The renewed agreement aims to strengthen cooperation between the two bodies in investigating and reporting on irregular, fruitless and wasteful expenditure of public funds. The SIU has been particularly active this week, providing Parliament with updates on their investigations into various portfolios, including communications and digital technology. Let's now get into this discussion with the SIU spokesperson, that is Kaizer Kganyago, who's joining us now live. Kaizer, very good morning to you. Thank you so much for making time for us. Let's start off with the proclamations that you've received this week, and one of those is looking into the role of Nedbank and Standard Bank when it came to the interest rate swaps, and this is in relation to an AXA contract. Tell us more about that.
Thank you very much, Aldrin, and to your viewers. The proclamations that we got were four, and among them is the one that we are referring to. You'd remember that we had an investigation around the same thing with Transnet and Nedbank, where there were interest rate swap, and the similar thing has happened with AXA and Nedbank, among the others, and there's also allegations about another bank that is involved that we'll also have to look into. And here it is an issue of looking at the interest rates that were charged and then being altered to favor the bank in some instances, because there was manipulation from some people outside of the bank who were middlemen between the bank and AXA, in the same way it was with Transnet and Nedbank. Therefore, this is what we are going to be looking into. You remember, this specific one was the one that caused a lot of uproar in the media not so long ago, when they were saying that we need to have the proclamation signed, and it was taking too long, and that is as a result of the processes that went through before the proclamation is signed.
Yeah, and with the Transnet deal that you just touched on a bit earlier on, and Nedbank had responded to that, and they'd argued that, listen, there was no unlawful conduct as far as they are concerned with regards to that, to such a point that the SIU also then said that it's going to file a lawsuit. Do you anticipate that something similar could happen with this particular investigation when it concerns AXA?
No, definitely. This is a normal process that we get all the time. When we come up with outcomes, there are people who say, oh, you are wrong, and they take us to court and all of that. And we always say we are dealing with facts and the law. Therefore, if the law is on your side and you think you are right, you can take these matters up and we will defend our position. But when we find that something has gone wrong, we go out there to the tribunal and we institute civil proceedings to cancel those contracts.
Yeah. And on the part of regiments, what would the investigation there be? Because they were actually almost the agent or the brokers that were able to get this deal through.
Yes, obviously we are dealing with this matter in that way because we want to understand why this arrangement. For an example, in the case of Transnet, where Transnet had done this deal directly, Transnet and Nedbank. But in this particular instance, they are middlemen. Therefore, there is an indication that something is going wrong because the middlemen end up benefiting out of this kind of arrangement. Therefore, if we cancel the contract and then we are successful with that, we'll be able to then say who needs to pay back the money, and then we'll go after anyone who was participating.
As far as you're concerned with the part when it comes to regiments, are you clear whether all of the individuals that you need to get answers from are still in the country?
We're not sure about that, and we will just have to check, because in this case we are dealing with Regiment, the company, and therefore if they have got any assets here and we've got to recover against them, we'll look into all of that, but we are not sure whether all of them are still in the country.
Okay, and then there's the other proclamation looking into the investigation into unauthorized and maladministration and corruption relating to what happened in the Department of, is it Agriculture, in Arts and Culture rather, in Gauteng. Can you just explain to us what the issue there is?
Yeah, in the main, I think it was some conference or event that they had done. We got allegations that it wasn't done in a proper way. Obviously, it is still in the early stages for us to give too much information, because now we are in the process of gathering information. But there were some fruitless and wasteful expenditures that were reported to us, and we are now going to look into them and then check whether there is validity in what the allegations are about.
Yeah. Does this relate to a certain gospel singer at all?
No, we're not talking people as yet. Like I always say to you, we look at the processes, and once we find that things have gone wrong and we have got proof to that, then we ask that question as to who was involved. But if that person or a gospel singer is involved, we will give you when we get to the outcomes side.
Okay. And then also looking into another investigation that is taking place, this one now, in the Eastern Cape, one of the local municipalities there, when it comes to the procurement of a local stadium. Some people saying that it became what looks like a white elephant, but the stadium itself was not even completed, and more money kept on being pumped into that stadium.
Yes, that is the allegation that was brought to our attention. When we did the assessment, we found that there's something to investigate, and we want to understand how this process was done with the procurement of or getting this tender, and who was involved, because money has been spent, but we don't have a lot to show. Therefore, we will be looking into that one. It's in the Eastern Cape, where we will be investigating. The process has started. We are gathering information as we speak.
Are you able to share with us if there's any preliminary information that you receive from the council this yet with regards to how they went about with the procurement, as well as the role of the mayor, including previous mayors?
Yeah, we obviously, before we could write a proclamation to go to the president, we did a preliminary investigation, and we found that it was there's something to investigate, because there are two things that we are looking at there. It is the stadium and also the procurement of the SUV vehicle, I think, in that municipality. Therefore, we are now in the process of getting information, and we haven't gotten any problem in getting information formally, because now we've got a proclamation. It's easy for us to demand the information that we want. But we believe that there is something to investigate.
Yeah, that is, of course, the Ngqusha local municipality in the Eastern Cape, and then the eThekwini Metro as well, an investigation there in relation to the procurement of security and VIP protection services. What's the allegation there?
The allegation there is that the process of appointment of that security services has not been done in a proper manner, in line with the Constitution and in line with the procurement policies of the municipality. We went in our investigation, preliminary investigation, when we looked at the evidence that was provided to us, we saw that it was necessary for us to get deeper into it, and we hope that in not so long we will be able to get the information that we want.
Is that contract still in place?
I don't think the contract is still in place, but it doesn't matter to us, because if the company still exists, we will get back to them. And in cases like that, if at the end of the investigation, the contract has ended, we then look at what was spent, if it was irregular, and then we then say, what you spent, you can keep. What was supposed to be a profit, we then have to take back to the municipality.
Thank you so much for your time. Kaizer Kganyago is the spokesperson of the SIU on some of the proclamations that they received and the investigations that will be ensuing, including the one around the interest rate swaps involving Nedbank and Standard Bank as well. And this is in relation to the investigation that was also done, remember, by the State Capture Commission of Inquiry, and the chairperson of the commission saying that when it comes to the interest rate swap in relation to the AXA deal involving Nedbank, unfortunately, they couldn't investigate that particular part, and that's the reason why it's been handed over, and now the SIU is investigating that as well.